Deborah Heart and Lung Center and Cleveland Clinic Heart Vascular and Thoracic Institute have formed a powerful alliance. Legends in caregiving New Jersey families, the most sophisticated heart team in America. Innovators in research and patient care who've made life better for thousands of patients, raising the standard for the next generation of care. The alliance between Deborah Heart and Lung Center and Cleveland Clinic Heart Vascular and Thoracic Institute means the highest quality care close to home for you. DemandDeborah.org.
PDQ POS is the MVP in point-of-sale solutions. Easy to use with the best support in the industry, and it doesn't take a bite out of your sales with costly fees. It's the choice of all concept food service businesses across the country. PDQ POS has real-time analytics with insights to elevate your team and your play calling. PDQ POS has been rated the #1 point of sale by restaurant owners for more than 35 years, so don't wait. Make the switch to PDQ POS today. Visit PDQ POS.com.
You may have heard, Wawa has pizza. And right now, Wawa has pizza at a really great price.
Wawa has personal pizza for a night of gaming.
And it's only $6.
Wawa has pizza for when we don't want to cook.
And a 14-inch is $8.
Wawa has pizza for after practice.
A 16-inch to feed the team, $10. Right now, get a personal 14 or 16-inch Wawa pizza for just $6, $8, or $10. Wawa has pizza for all at a really great price.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This has been a test of the emergency alert system.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
The Don Stensland Show. Don Stensland live and local on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Final day of the last day that you can go to your local county election office and file that mail-in vote that we've been talking about, continuing the conversation, and that was in Delco, but we actually have Susan in Winmore, which is Montgomery County. What was your experience, Susan? Good morning. Thanks for being here, and what was your experience as you were trying to vote early yesterday?
Good morning, Dawn. On the websites over the weekend, I was checking to see what the satellite office hours were. Mm-hmm. And they said 8:30 to 8:30. I went to Abington, Willow Grove, and Upper Dublin to be told that no, we're 4:30 to 8:30. So I went back up to Upper Dublin. I got there at 3:45. I was number 7 in line. It took an hour for them to process 7 of us. And by the time I left, there was like at least 60 people in line. And I swear they're doing this on purpose because they know that the majority of the early voters are Trump supporters. And also, one quick thing, I was at a Scott Presler event a few Sundays ago.
Yes.
And they were checking people's voter registration. And I found out that I had been removed from the voter registration list.
What?
And I asked Scott about it, and he said, yeah, it's really weird. That's been happening a lot in Pennsylvania, and we don't know why.
Huh. Well, that's one more thing to look into. Susan, thank you so much for sharing. It's important that we get these stories on record, and I encourage people, if you're out today and have any of these instances, just video. What's happening,
Yes, and everybody get out and vote, and my vote has been cast for our president, Donald J. Trump.
Susan, thank you so much. Great job. Well, here to tell us about all of this, and somebody who many of you know very well, the chairman of the Delaware County GOP, Frank Agavino. Thank you so much, Frank, for being here today.
Sure, Dawn. Good to be on.
Absolutely. Susan just called in from Montgomery County. I've got people, friends and family in parts of Montgo, Delco, Bucks County. They're previewing that, and kudos to them, on the front of the Inquirer today. They're talking about these delays that we're hearing about in Bucks. And can you take me through, Frank, as far as what's going on, what you're seeing, and, I guess first I should say, what's your reaction to what happened to Val just yesterday with that arrest?
Well, for those of us that know Val, certainly she's going to speak her mind, and that's what people love about Val. But I think, from what I understand, Val was there and she was talking to voters. She wasn't wearing any paraphernalia. She didn't have any signs. And, the county can't really have it both ways. These servicing centers, they tell us, are not polling centers. So, poll watchers aren't permitted. So if that's the case, it's a public place. I don't see what the issue was. Now, I don't have every detail, but certainly from folks that came over to the GOP headquarters, she wasn't acting out. She was talking to voters. Voters were coming up to her, asking her about different election issues, and they told her, you need to move along. And again, the county can't have it both ways. These we were told explicitly that these are not polling places; these are voting services centers, and they're different. So our request for poll watchers was denied.
And so, for you, and you're somebody who comes from the private sector side, congratulations. I had seen that you won, the Delco Chamber of Commerce's Entrepreneur of the Year, and somebody who's highly respected in the community as well. And you're a girl dad, husband and girl dad,
sure.
With your daughter. So take me through what you're seeing in Delco. I know that Trump is holding this town hall in Drexel Hill there. Are you helping to host this? Are you going to be there? And just take us through what we can expect moving forward. And with my goal here, Frank, to be honest, is just to empower people, but also make sure that people are emboldened with all of the information that they need,
sure.
So that if people are going today, or whether it's a week from today, people know their rights, and, we'll continue, as I say, vote, 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 and fight, fight, fight,
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'll be over at Drexel Brook for the event. It is a senior citizen forum that the president is hosting. It is a limited audience, so if I can take just a few seconds, there were a lot of disappointed people that called headquarters that are obviously ardent supporters of the president and the party and wanted to be there. But unfortunately, it's a very limited audience. It's not a rally like he'll be doing in Allentown. So we were sad ourselves that we couldn't get a larger group. So he is in today, and I think what that will do, it just sort of helps the momentum along, and that's what we have right now in Delaware County. We saw. We went over 150,000, actually 151,000 of registered Republicans this week. We've outpaced the Democrats in registration now for 4 weeks running, and several other weeks during the course of the year. So there's clearly a momentum. Last week was 1,100 new Republicans. We're seeing volunteerism at an all-time high. The activity at the headquarters building is really nice, and not only just for the president, but for our local candidates. And we have a terrific slate of local candidates, and folks are coming out of the woodwork to help them. I haven't seen anything like this, since my time helping out with the GOP. So there clearly is a momentum. We're doing better with mail-in ballots as far as the percentage of mail-in ballots. So we're seeing a lot of good things going on now. This as far as the early voting, it hasn't been a terrific process for sure, right? It's so I think, first of all, there is really no early voting in Pennsylvania. So what people are actually doing is casting a mail-in ballot, right? So they're filling out the application's being printed, and then it's being run through the Sure system. I don't think folks are aware of that. But who was aware of that was certainly the county. Yeah. And the lack of resources available to the voter, is appalling, really. Yes. The lines are long, and there are just not enough people there working. There was different ways that this process could have been sped up, and it really was. As of today, and today's the last day that you can actually do this. There really isn't. There wasn't a learning curve. If you're in the retail business during the holidays, you ramp up your service level because the volume is going to go up. But, the volume went up, and the resources have not gone up.
And I'll tell you that, when I look at the PA.gov, the site for the Commonwealth, it states that with these deadlines that today, October 29th, 2024, that these county election offices, and this is a state site, that they are open until 5 p.m. That's what they're telling people. They're open until 5 p.m. and that your application for the mail-in or absentee ballot must be received by your county election office by this time. But if you look at the site, you would infer that these offices are open until 5. And that's not what we're hearing necessarily if they're running out of things or they're not, or if they've decided to close earlier than 5. So how do people find with your county election office the hours of that? I don't know if you heard Susan from Montgomery County. She just called in and she said they've changed the hours. So is that legal? How do people, deal with that?
Well, we have certainly talked to our attorney and others, and it didn't seem like we had, a lane to conduct any legal action. But again, they're calling these aren't polling places; these are voter servicing centers. You're supposed to provide services to the voter, and they're closing early, not because there isn't demand. They're closing early because the resources weren't provided. Last I heard, there's 2 people working there, and there's hundreds of people in line at times. It's just not enough. And whether 5 o'clock is not enough,
right?
To me, and I sent this email to the administrator of the election board this morning that to me, if somebody's in line, they should. This is the last day. If they want to wait in line to 9 o'clock tonight, they should be able to wait in line to 9 o'clock tonight. And the services should have been provided. There should have been provisions. And, there's always if-then scenarios. I mean, they should have known the volume was going to be high. I think what they didn't count on was as many Republicans standing in line to vote. And I think that's certainly at work here.
Let me ask you something. Because my son, who just turned 18, just at time that this is the first time he can vote, he did everything online, 100%. He did it online. So can people still today go online? Or can they print out at least, fill out the application, type in everything except their signature because they need your signature, and then they would have the filled out application?
You can, but the way they're operating, the way the process is operating there, it really wouldn't speed up the process for your son. But yes, the answer is yes. And then, a simple things. I mean, you got to look at situations and say, what kind of common sense can we apply to this to make it better? And there is a pencil and paper piece of this where folks are filling out the application. Right. Now, there could be people with clipboards and blank applications working their way through the lines and getting those applications filled out ahead of time. That's where the majority of the time is. And, there are people that never did this before. And a lot of our folks, especially seniors, they're stopping at headquarters first, and they think they can do it at headquarters, and then we inform them where they have to go, in many cases walk them over. But they're not used to this process, so they have questions. So that piece of this, the customer service piece of this, is void. It's not even there. So you have a lot of folks that have a lot of questions that is also slowing it down. There should have been people there to answer questions. There should have been folks with clipboards and blank applications working their way through the line, and that was 70-80% of the time. When you get to the end of the line and the ballot, is printed and ultimately run through the shore, so it doesn't take, because that's automated, it doesn't take very much time. So it was poor planning. They should have known there was going to be more volume. Granted, it's higher than they anticipated, but the county's spending is out of control. We're looking at double-digit tax increases for, at minimum, multiple years, and we're spending money on the craziest things in the world. But when it comes to making elections better, making the process better, and keeping integrity afoot, we're not doing that. We're not spending any money at all. I mean, if you don't take care of your elections and make sure they're free and fair, and the process is run respectfully and expeditiously, what do you have? You have nothing.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned something that I thought was fascinating, Frank, and that is thinking about Delco. I think back to the Kurt Weldon days and when Delco was bright red, as, Bucks was not purple back in the day, Montgomery County, and slowly these counties have gone. I just wonder what this change is that you see. In other words, some of the people who maybe move to these areas, they realize they're thinking about the economy. Is it the schools? Is it education? What do you think is causing all of this momentum that you're seeing, and what are you hearing on the ground there?
Yeah, all the above. Certainly, the economy is affecting the poorest families in Delco for sure. Education certainly is a thing, but I believe that the Democrats in charge right now, we really have zero. There's 150,000 plus Republicans in Delaware County, and we have no representation at the county government. And I think the folks that are in charge they certainly don't represent most Republicans, and I don't think that they represent many Democrats as well. Most of the folks in charge these days are much more left, much more militant. And, the general population, Republicans and Democrats, a lot of them in Delaware County, they're not that way. We're not being represented. We're not being represented well by current leadership. And I think people are starting to see it. They're starting to get fed up with it. We're seeing, the number one exodus is actually Democrat to independent, and then Democrat to Republican.
Okay.
So we're seeing that number of independents grow very, very quickly, right? So right now we're at 65,000 independents in Delaware County, and in 2 years I would bet that number is going to be over 100,000, which tells you that there's a lot of folks that want to listen to both sides, are just looking for good candidates that represent them. Delco is a neighborhood, as a community. There's a lot of people that live here, but we're all connected, and there's a lot of things we have in common. And it's just the leadership, the folks, the Mary Gay Scanlons of the world. Our council is all Democrat. It doesn't, who likes one party rule? I mean, that's not what this country was founded on. And this is such an important county, and so much goes on here. Yes. The people of the county deserve so much better than what they're getting. And I think, when you see stuff like this going on, as far as early voting or vote by mail early, there's distrust. Yeah. And the party in control doesn't seem to care. They just sort of snub their nose and just say, whatever, this is what it is. This is the way you guys used to do it, and now you don't like it. We hear that all the time. If I had $1 for every time the Democrats in charge would refer to, the Republican Party of 30 years ago, I can dig them out of the financial hole that they're in. And the reality is, this is, a much newer Republican Party. There's a lot of newer faces, a lot of younger people getting involved. There's a whole lot of African Americans turning Republican. So we're seeing a lot of folks just saying they don't like what they're seeing. And and all the national stuff, it's true for sure. The economy's a thing. I mean, inflation's only at 2% now. After it was at like 20%, right? So things are still high, and people are seeing it, and. People are just getting tired of the divisiveness. Yeah. The Democrats that are in control, it's like they want to, squash a grape with a sledgehammer. Their ultimate goal is to just do away with the Republican Party. They really think that's, where they should get, and that people really like everything that they're saying, and they're going to they're going to spoon feed us and tell us what's good for us. But I'm seeing people stand up and saying, I don't really like this. And, what makes Republicans first and foremost, typically, is how we handle fiscal issues and financial issues. And, of all the national issues you mentioned, the debt of the federal government is an issue that will affect all of our lives. I mean, it could, this could be Mad Max in 10 years.
Yeah, this inflation, there's no question. This inflation, it's a tax on us, if you will. And I think Republicans, the other side of it is, I know with when we go on a trip or when I'm with fellow Republicans, Frank, what do we talk about? Quality of life issues. Yes, the economy. Yes, safety. Yes, lower taxes. Listen, Frank, you have been so gracious with your time. I know you have this huge event with Trump at Drexel Brook there with senior citizens in this all-important forum and busting through, these commercials that claim that Trump would mess with Social Security, which is absurd. So, Frank, I know you have to scooch, but thank you so much for being gracious with your time and going through all of this. Thanks, Frank.
No, I appreciate turnout. That's the key. We got to get everybody out to vote because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. If Republicans who stay home elect Democrats, so we need everybody out.
Frank, thank you so much. Frank Agavino, thank you, Frank, chairman of the Delaware County GOP, hosting this big Trump event there, Trump Town Hall, with Mike Huckabee will be there. Drexel Brook, it is obviously it's a smaller, if you know Drexel Brook, so they've sold that out, and this is specifically a senior citizen forum where Trump can do some Q&A and answer the questions and concerns of senior citizens in Delaware County. So thanks to Frank, obviously thanks to Val, and thanks to Susan and Winmore who gave us that Montgomery County perspective. Your thoughts if you've been out and about, and I'll try to answer your questions. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. And in Chester County, actually, a local company that I've relied on when it comes to my home. You've heard me talk about Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding, although they service, all of our entire region. But two brothers, Mike and Mark Chapman, starting out there in Chester County. They do beautiful work, and certainly they've done so in my home with the new patio doors and really fixing, or I should say replacing that wall of windows especially. But this is exciting, and it's still going on. We're toward the end of this because November 1st is this Friday. So for the month of October, Chapman has been doing something fun, giving you the chance to send them a photo of your front door, okay? Everybody who sends them a photo of your front door, you're automatically going to get a $500 credit toward a new front door with Chapman. But one lucky winner of this Chapman, it's fun. So you send in your front door picture, and they're going to choose whoever has the most, need of some TLC for their front door. One lucky winner gets $1,000 in credit toward a beautiful brand new front door. So you got to just send them a photo. What have you got to lose here? This is a beautiful thing. And what does an updated new front door do for your home? Obviously, it changes the curb appeal. It's going to feel like an instant makeover, especially as you're entertaining for the holidays upcoming. So whether you have a single door, double door, the door with the side lights, like I have, you want to choose Chapman every time. They have an experienced project consultant that's going to work with you, and I love the Chapman team here. So you can call, you can text them, 610-431-8898. Go online, chapmanwindowsdoors.com. That's where you can get more information on this, how to send in that photo, but do it now so that you can at least, at the minimum, you're going to get a $500 credit. Maybe you'll be the lucky winner who's chosen for a $1,000 credit toward that new front door, courtesy my friends at Chapman. chapmanwindowsdoors.com. Make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
Wawa's Hot Turkey is back, and it's bringing the comforting flavors of the season with it. Sink into savory stuffing, cozy up with sweet cranberry sauce, and relax into some warm, buttery mashed potatoes. Grab your pillows and blankets because Hot Turkey is back. Plus, get your cozy cravings satisfied from the comfort of your bed with $0 delivery when you order on the Wawa app. Try the Wawa Gobbler today in a hoagie or bowl for a limited time. gotta have a Wawa.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano for my friend, dentist and board-certified prosthodontist Dr. Robert Bentz and the Bentz Dental Group. His state-of-the-art facility makes your dentistry as easy as can be. Recently had a permanent tooth put in, and you know how it is. In the past, you bite down, it's too high, it's always too high. The back and forth getting it just right. Well, not this time. With Dr. Bentz, it fit perfectly the first time. Call the Bentz Dental Group now, 610-272-6949. Visit BentzDentalGroup.com, 610-272-6949.
Medicare is making important changes in 2025. Independence Blue Cross can help. Our Medicare Advantage plans include premiums as low as $0, dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage. The deadline to enroll is December 7th. Visit ibxmedicare.com/radio. Independence Blue Cross offers PPO, HMO, POS, and HMO Medicare Advantage plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Independence Blue Cross PPO, HMO, POS, and HMO Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal.
The following is a paid commercial message.
27 years in politics has changed Bob Casey. He's just not the same anymore. In Washington, Bob Casey voted to let biological men compete against our girls in their sports. And Casey introduced a bill to force hospitals to perform sex change operations against their beliefs. Letting men compete against our daughters? Forcing hospitals to perform sex changes? It's just not normal. But that's how liberal Casey is these days. Casey also voted for higher taxes on seniors' Social Security benefits, too. Casey even voted for a bill that could raise out-of-pocket drug costs for seniors. Higher taxes on Social Security? Raising drug costs for seniors? Come on, Casey. It's just not right. Bob Casey's gone way too liberal for Pennsylvania. After 27 years, we need a change. It's time to fire Bob Casey. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
My office has its ups and downs.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, one thing's for certain. If you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast, and you can invite your top choices to apply. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So, for any kind of office.
I'm really going places in my office.
My office has everything you could ever want.
Count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-253-6259. 800-253-6259. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-253-6259.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
A few details about Trump in Drexel Brook. I just want to let you know this is something important to me about your online privacy, your online security in these days. How often do you hear me reporting starting early in the morning in Kale and Company about these privacy breaches, these issues? And this is near and dear to my heart. You know this for many years, and that is why I subscribe to Privacy Pro with DuckDuckGo. So this is a 3-in-1 privacy subscription service. Helps protect your personal information from being exploited by hackers, scammers, and those privacy invasive companies that I talk about. Plus, it is, after all, from DuckDuckGo, so you know it's legit. They're good. With Privacy Pro, DuckDuckGo's VPN secures your Wi-Fi connection anytime, anywhere. Now, number 2 on this, because this is a 3-pronged important approach, it has identity theft restoration. So if, God forbid, your identity gets stolen, DuckDuckGo Privacy Pro helps you restore it. Number 3, personal info removal. So the only this totally blew my mind. I love this feature. Have you ever searched your name online and then noticed how many sites are actually selling information about you? So try this yourself. Privacy Pro is going to help you remove your personal info from those creepy sites so they cannot share it, they cannot sell it. How awesome is that? So get all this for $9.99 a month. And as my listener, if you go right now, go to duckduckgo.com/WPHT, you're going to get an exclusive 7-day free trial on us here at WPHT. So duckduckgo.com/WPHT, because your privacy and security are so important. So we have that going on. We have a great interview coming up. We'll give you more details as well about Trump in Drexelbrook. And that's why a lot of the schools today, they're letting the kids out early because of all the traffic in the area. So much more. Great interview just ahead. We are jam-packed with a lot of breaking news. Be right back.
This year's election threatens to erode your retirement future.
Susan Sinoski, Downingtown, Pennsylvania. Depending on who wins the election, it's going to affect the economy as a whole. Costs are just skyrocketing. Medical costs, housing, food especially. And when was the last time you ever heard of a tax decrease? And I have to say, I have no fear at all because my money is safeguarded with crash-proof retirement. And with our crash-proof retirement system, our money is not just stable, but it's actually increasing much more than we had expected. That money is always added to our principal without anybody getting a cut of that. It's just ours. We earn it, it goes into our account, and it continues to grow and multiply. We have not had a single loss. I'm election-proof. My entire investment for retirement is protected.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Springfield Country Club, November 20th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Are you working out, eating healthy, doing all the right things, but still not seeing the right result? Well, it could all be down to your metabolism. But now, there's a way of understanding how your nutrition and lifestyle fit into the bigger picture. Learn how your body shifts from burning carbs to burning fat for energy with Lumen. Go to lumen.me right now for 30% off. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It takes just a single breath first thing in the morning, and Lumen immediately analyzes your metabolism, telling you if you're burning fat or carbs, and gives you tailored guidance to improve nutrition, workouts, sleep, and stress management. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. Get something tailored to your body's needs with Lumen. Go to lumen.me today and get 30% off. Plus, listeners can get an additional 15% off by using promo code Radio50. That's promo code Radio50 at lumen.me to get an additional 15% off your first purchase today. LUMEN.ME, promo code Radio50.
Cancer, a scary word, but not so scary if you have the right team. Hi, this is John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, Sundays at 8 and again at 4 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. And that team is Dr. Molly Fantasia and the medical staff at Innovative Medical Associates. Yes, cancer is a scary word and a difficult condition if you've been diagnosed. Over the years, the staff at Innovative Medical Associates has helped hundreds of patients with their unique medical hydration protocols. Cancer support is a large part of the practice at Innovative Medical Associates.
We believe in medical hydration. We've improved it so much that we are able to help people across the board with challenges before they become chronic.
Talk about improving your quality of life. Most likely, that'll happen when you visit Innovative Medical Associates. Check them out on the web at innovativemedicalassociates.com or call 856-489-0505 to schedule your initial complimentary consultation.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription.
Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, VH1, TLC, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. And with up to 3 streams at once, you'll never have to fight about what to watch. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows, and save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR, so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere, for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC Plus. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's philo.tv.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
So this is the last day. It's a deadline day, if you will, as Republican officials across our region are, and especially in Bucks County, I'll take you to, urging election officials, hey, come up with a plan to ensure that every voter who wants to cast their mail-in ballot in person today, which is the last day, is able to do so before the state's deadline to request a mail ballot. The deadline today, they're listing, according to the Commonwealth, on the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's sites, 5 p.m. today. So we're hearing this across Bucks, Delaware County, Montgomery County. I've even heard from some in Chester County. Want to hear from you if you are experiencing anything, if you're in line, heading to line, that sort of thing. Continue to keep us live and local. WPHT, Talk Radio 1210, as well as the Odyssey app or wherever you're going. But keep us in mind if you're out and about. And please, please make sure you fully charge your phone so that you can record what happens. Okay, so make sure somebody didn't take the cord out of your vehicle, because that always happens. You know, it's like, who took my cord?
Sounds
out
like
of
you're
my
speaking from experience here, Dawn.
Oh no, never, Dan.
Yeah,
never. So we're awaiting this.
Is that the Suns or Larry that did that?
Larry Bear, definitely.
Really?
The worst was
I was expecting the Suns.
Oh, Dan. The worst time was he took my Easy Pass because he couldn't find his Easy Pass. That's Velcroed.
Oh no. Uh-huh.
Took my Easy Pass.
Oh no.
So that day I was like traveling.
Yeah.
And boops. Didn't
Oh,
have
you
me.
thief.
Oh, yeah.
You shoplifted Easy Pass? Wow.
So
just blew right through it, huh?
What's on the docket for today? We look at Vice President Kamala Harris set to deliver what she calls her closing argument speech. That's tonight. And they're all announcing this at the Ellipse, the location of former President Donald J. Trump's J6 2021 rally. That's what they're talking, that preceded the violence and the Capitol riot, et cetera. But that's how they're playing this. How does that play with the public that she is there talking about something that happened, really, 3 years and 10 months ago, TikTok, talking about that, where Trump, any moment now is expected to hold, and don't worry, you're not going to miss a thing. He's still in Mar-a-Lago.
There's a lot of gold.
He is, yes. There's so much.
So much gold.
So he is putting out there, and I get all the emails, and I'm sure you do too, the texts that he's got a major announcement he's making. So he's going to be live in Mar-a-Lago holding this news conference, making an announcement. Then he travels first to our area, to Delaware County, Drexel Brook. We talked about that. That's why the schools are leaving, they're letting out early and that sort of thing. Some of them, gave them the option, I think, to do a hybrid learning because of all the traffic, etc. And so then Trump will head to Reading. So the Allentown area. I keep wanting to say Reading. So, it's a big day for Trump where he has all these stops for sure. But remember that today is the last day, as long as you registered by the 21st, obviously. And that's what I was referencing earlier. My youngest son turned 18, first time voting, and he was able to go online, do everything online as far as voting. But today's the final day where any registered voter, you can apply for the mail-in ballot.
Do you get him a cake for that or anything?
No. Oh, that'd be cute.
Right? You should.
Like a reveal?
Yeah.
Like if
reveal. A vote reveal.
If it's a vote, like a red velvet reveal.
Cut into it.
Who eats blue cake? I'm just totally teasing. Wouldn't tell you who to vote for. So I told my kids, I will be heartbroken if Trump loses. And they're like, well, thanks, Mom.
No bias here.
I said, no bias here.
No.
All I want for Christmas is for Trump to win. Like every day I have something new that I say, but I'm never telling you who to vote for. 855-839-1210. Before we give you some more information, let's take Grover.
Before we go to Grover, we do have Grover.
Grover Norquist is okay. He's here. I wasn't sure.
Here, but I want to play because this is why I wanted to get Grover, especially because he's so great on taxes, American for tax reform, and tariffs. But Trump appeared on the Joe Rogan show and had something to say about tariffs, and would love to get into that with him. Here you go, Don.
If I win, I'm going to tax those cars at the rate of 100 or 200% apiece, so that you won't be able to sell them in the United States. They just announced they're not going to build the plant.
Yeah, I read this.
I did a big favor for our country by doing that. And I'm not even there yet. To me, the most beautiful word, and I've said this for the last couple of weeks, in the dictionary today, is the word tariff. It's more beautiful than love. It's more beautiful than anything. It's the most beautiful word. This country can become rich with the proper use of tariffs.
Did you just float out the idea of getting rid of income taxes and replacing it with tariffs?
Well, okay.
Were you serious about that?
Yeah, sure. But why not? Because our country was the richest relatively in the 1880s and 1890s. A president who was assassinated named McKinley. He was the tariff king. He spoke beautifully of tariffs.
McKinley, the tariff king. So does our next guest, Grover Norquist, does he think that with the proper use of tariffs, they're a beautiful thing, more beautiful than love? Grover Norquist, president of Americans for Tax Reform, ATR. And by the way, this group obviously founded under Ronald Reagan at his request. So Grover Norquist, good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Absolutely.
The idea of bringing government down to the size that it was when McKinley was president and Coolidge was president is a very good idea. And back then you could fund it with tariffs. That's how we raised most of the money. We sold federal land. We still have plenty of federal land. There's like trillions of dollars worth of federal land because of the stuff that's under it. If they sold it, they could bring down the national debt quite a bit. So that's how the government raised its money: sell federal land. A quarter of the country is like federal land, for crying out loud. And there's a whole bunch of good stuff underneath it that we could make use of if we had a reasonable permitting process. But I love the idea of bringing spending down to that level. The president's efforts to make sure that his tax cuts, which lasted for 10 years because of the reconciliation process, you need 51 votes to pass it. Democrats obviously were never going to vote for a tax cut. So we had to do reconciliation, which can only last 10 years. We're going to take it out and make that permanent, probably kick it out for another 10 years and as much as possible. That means everybody who pays taxes got lower tax rates because of that. Those will continue. The Democrats want to take that away. Those will continue. Businesses that want to invest in the United States instead of overseas will see the lower corporate income tax and full expensing for all new business investment, which has brought several $1 trillion from overseas into the United States because we have lower taxes. If you want to invest $100 or $100,000 or $100 million, it's better to do it in the United States under Trump's tax cuts of 21% than the corporate 35% that we had under Obama, for crying out loud. And that's what flooded money in to help strengthen the economy. So, and the president wants to go further. He wants to take the corporate rate to 15. We know that will increase wages. We saw it increase wages during the 4 years of his term. Corporate income tax is not paid by some guy named Mr. General Motors. It's paid by consumers when prices go up. I mean, if you go to a company and say, we're taking $1 million away from you, what do? Mm-hmm. Well, they got to pay people less because they don't have the money. They got to see if they can raise prices. If that, market sometimes says you can't raise prices, but if you can get some. That gouges consumers. If you can't raise prices, you have to reduce wages, and that's who the corporate income tax hits. So whenever you hear some progressive tell you, "I'm your friend. I don't want to tax you. I want to tax corporations," they think they're talking to somebody on welfare. If you have a job, the corporate income tax and the individual income tax for the 5 million subchapter S pass-through companies that pay their taxes through the personal income tax. Those also got a special additional reduction under the Trump tax cuts. So 5 million small businesses that were paying up rates as high as 40% saw that drop 20%. Democrats want to take all that away. Trump wants to continue it all permanently, go further on lowering taxes on investment in the United States. And he's tossed out some great ideas, not taxing tips. I think that's a privacy matter, frankly. You're going to take pictures of everybody to see how many quarters they got.
Right.
At Denny's, for crying out loud.
It's funny that you say that, because whenever, I shouldn't even say this, but if I get my hair done or I'm out at a restaurant, I'll say to the server, this is my personal gift to you. This is not a gratuity. So this is just from me to you as a friendship. You know what I mean? Who's to say that it's not just a gift of being grateful for you, right? I'm serious. I say that.
This is a personal relationship. Yeah. 13 million people roughly get a fair amount of money through tips. But as a political statement, there are 30-year-olds and 40 and 50 and 60 and 70-year-olds who remember living off tips, who get that Trump understands their life at a particular time and their children or grandchildren's life. Not all businesses operate on tips, but many do. I mean, bartenders, a good bartender should be paid better than a bad bartender. And the same thing with waiters and waitresses. And that's what tips do. It allows people to really to immediately see the benefit of hard work and competent work and cheerful work. And, it's unlike a paycheck that comes in a couple of weeks. This is an immediate, yes, I did something right. I really helped these people. I did my job well. And I just saw cash on the barrelhead right there. So I think that's great. The other thing that the Trump people have talked about is indexing capital gains, so that when you pay capital gains taxes on your home, on the land, on your 401k, you don't pay taxes on the inflation. Right now, the Biden people, Harris, says she wants to have a second death tax. In addition to the normal death tax that we have now, she wants to make sure more people pay that, not just higher income people, but more and more middle class people. And she wants to add to that they tax every dollar that you made before you died, and make sure they hit the inflation. For instance, 20%, if you pass away and you've got money or a house or land or something that you're passing on to kids, 20% of that gain you had is inflation. They want to make sure that their new death tax hits their inflation. Yes. They inflate the currency and you pay for it through the nose. That's something that Trump was within inches of doing. We had trouble with the Democrats, but they may do it by executive order. But he is a strong supporter of that. Ted Cruz in Texas has legislation to get that introduced, to get that passed. It's got strong support. I think that's one of the things that will really help the economy. And one of the things that some people are talking about is, there's this free trade zone in the Pacific. Britain just joined it, okay? And the United States thought about joining it, but didn't. I think if the United States, if the United States joins that group, Japan, all the Asian successful China's out. And with Britain, that's 40% of the world's economy. Europe is 20, China's 20. All of this new trade zone would be 40. That is leverage on China. Yes. That is leverage on Europe. So actually, I think we can squeeze the other guys, not with higher tariffs, but with lower tariffs, and make them come to us. So, and the president's talked. He really wants to see other countries treat us as well as we treat them. And part of that is to let them know we have options. And the largest free trade zone in the world, which is the United States to start with, but you go from 25% to 40%, that's even bigger.
We're continuing the conversation with Grover Norquist. And I just want to ask you the question, Grover, as far as the vice president, who I always point out is the current vice president who's been in office 3 years, 10 months. But she's talking about corporate price gouging. You talked about the corporate tax rate. We know that her proposal would increase that corporate tax rate from 21% to 28%, albeit that is a lower rate than Biden has talked about, but still 21 to 28%. So just your reaction to that level of a corporate tax rate versus the 15% proposed by Trump. And then as well, her comment that this is a talking point, which infuriates me, quite frankly, when they say, quote, that this is all about corporate price gouging, not inflation.
That is obscene, okay? One of the things they wanted to go after were grocery stores because they know that people saw the price go up at grocery stores. The margin that a company makes at a grocery store is 1%, okay? 1%. What happens when they have inflation? It goes up by whatever inflation is, and 1% of that cost when you go to the grocery store goes to the grocery store's profits, for crying out loud. Of all the dumb industries to pick, grocery stores are one of the most competitive, lowest margin in the world. That's the one where every penny of inflation you feel, and it doesn't, if you sell high scale perfume, you can get a 20% rate of return. You can get a 50% rate of return if some pretty starlet advertises it. Okay, not grocery stores. They really picked a dumb one to focus on, but it shows how dishonest they are. They've never apologized for the damage they did to average Americans with the inflation. 3 years inflation. When people say inflation is going down, that doesn't mean things are getting better. It means things are getting worse less rapidly than the previous 3 months. Okay, the 20%. You take your wallet out, take a $20 bill. 20% of that, $4 of that is not real money anymore. It would have been $16 back before Biden and Harris became president. So they have made the money in your wallet worth less. Now, it's not declining in value this year as much as the previous 3 years. Mm-hmm. That's nice to know. Yes. But that's not progress. It's like falling out of a window and not quite as fast as earlier.
Grover,
you're still heading in the wrong direction.
Grover, I always use the analogy of, because post-pandemic, everybody's dieting and wants to lose, that 15 pounds before the holiday season, or maybe it's 10 pounds. So I always say, if the pants still don't fit and you only gained a pound this week, but you're still up the 15 pounds, that's going in the wrong direction. Even if maybe last week you gained 5 pounds and this week you only gained 1, the pants still don't fit and you're still up 15 pounds. That's the best analogy I can give to people who don't understand the news. When the news headlines say, "Oh, inflation is down."
Inflation is the rate of change. Inflation is not the price. Prices are not down. The rate at which prices are going up, it's slowing down a bit. But you're heading in the wrong direction. You're gaining weight, not losing weight. Yes, prices are getting more expensive, not less expensive. It is a huge, huge challenge. And now, of course, they want to give $80 billion to the IRS. I don't know if you've seen the ads that they've been running at the IRS, wanting people, 360 people, to carry guns for the IRS. So I want to hire IRS workers who will carry guns, and they insist that you be willing to shoot your neighbors, to use violent force, lethal force. You have to sign on to, yes, I will use lethal force. What in the world is the IRS doing with guns? If they think somebody's a danger, they could ask the local police to go with them to knock on the door, okay? The IRS doesn't go and get money from people by knocking on the door. It calls them on the phone, it sends them letter, and then it puts a lien on what they have, right? Mm-hmm. They take the money long distance. They don't come and knock on your door. And if they have to, have the local police help you. Yeah. What have they done with this hiring people with guns? Last year, more IRS agents fired one of those guns by mistake than on purpose.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay? That's how, and they don't follow the safety rules. This is from an inspector general's report, right? This is not some newspaper report. This is the government itself went and said, what's going on here? And they find that people are using, one IRS agent killed another IRS agent because he was playing with his phone while handling a pistol, okay? These are not people who are taking this seriously. They are not trained. They should, and by the way, they're offered training. They're required to have training. They don't take the training. The inspector general found out they weren't doing the training they were supposed to do. If they didn't do it, they weren't pulled off the job. Yeah. And people one person died and others have been hurt. They as to who got hurt and how much damage they were doing, the IRS redacted that. I mean, they did a little black magic marker and won't let you see that. Why is that a secret? Why in the world is that a secret from the American people? They're trying to not be embarrassed? That's not a good reason. This is not something we're worried the Russians might find out. It's a secret.
Yes.
No, you're worried the American people might find out. And the IRS, half of the people at the IRS don't go to work. They don't come into work. They have a union contract that said they can work from home. It's more than half. They won't tell us how many. And they won't tell us how many people come in, how often. That's a state secret also, evidently. We're worried the Chinese might find out about. These people use secrecy to hide things from the American people, not America's enemies. So, to the extent you have secrecy laws, normally it's, where are the submarines right now? It's a secret. You don't want China to know. How about how many people has the IRS shot recently? That's not a secret. Shouldn't be a secret.
Yeah.
It should not happen. They shouldn't have guns. They don't need $80 billion. And, remember all that money was supposed to buy us at the IRS? The IRS watchdog, the Inspector General, called the 76 numbers that say that you call these numbers and we'll answer your questions on the phone. 76 different phone numbers. There may be 50 or 100 people at that number, but it's 76 different numbers. 56 of the phone numbers sent callers directly to voicemail.
Oh, my goodness.
16 sent them to voicemail, but the boxes were full, so they couldn't leave a message. 2 phone numbers were not even in service. 2, somebody picked up the phone.
It's crazy.
It's not 76 people. This is however many people they have manning those 76 places that people are supposed to be answering their phones. These are the people who used to drive to work and not answer the phone. Now they sit at home at the pool and don't answer the phone. And they got $80 billion. And who was the person who cast the deciding vote for $80 billion to hire more people to harass you when you use Venmo and say that everything in your Venmo, we think it's income, even it may be somebody splitting a pizza or rent, and so you get this money in Venmo. They go, you need to prove to us that's not income.
Yeah.
You got receipts from every time you exchange money on Venmo with
believe
friends,
me.
neighbors.
All the football moms, that's how we reimburse each other for who's buying the football snack or the T-shirts for the kids. And we make sure we put in the little addendum there because of what you're saying, that we're paranoid, So if you're involved with charities. Grover Norquist, thank you so much. I hope you come back and we continue the conversation. Thank you so much. Grover Norquist, obviously talking to us about Americans for Tax Reform. Thanks, Grover.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Great to be with you as well. Worked, and that was at the request of Reagan. So let's take a quick break. Your calls, we'll get to President Trump in Mar-a-Lago, about to hold that news conference, all of it and more. Be right back.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
They don't call her Confiscation Kamala for nothing. Don't take it from us.
And I support a mandatory buyback program.
A mandatory buyback program? That means the government forcing you to turn in your firearms. To what lengths would Kamala go? Well, she doesn't even support the individual right to own a firearm.
I'm prepared to take executive action and put in place a ban on the importation of assault weapons into our country.
We get it. Sometimes it's tough to understand what she's talking about. But on the Second Amendment and your rights, Confiscation Kamala has been crystal clear. Her gun control agenda comes straight from that petri dish of bad ideas that is California. She can claim to be a gun owner all she wants, but we all know she's the same anti-gun California radical she's always been. Don't be left defenseless. Defeat Confiscation Kamala. Vote Trump like your life depends on it, because it does. NRA Political Victory Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. NRAPVF.org.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m. a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, it's Nick Kale. You know how important online privacy and security is these days, and that's why I started using a new subscription service called Privacy Pro from DuckDuckGo, and I wanted to share it with you. It's a simple-to-use 3-in-1 privacy and security subscription service that has everything I need to feel secure online. Plus, it's from DuckDuckGo, so you know it is legit. With Privacy Pro, DuckDuckGo's VPN secures your connection anytime, anywhere. Second, it has identity theft restoration if your identity gets stolen. DuckDuckGo Privacy Pro helps you restore it. And third, personal information removal. This one really blew my mind. Have you ever searched your name online and noticed how many sites are selling information about you? Try it yourself. Privacy Pro will help you remove your personal info from these creepy sites so they can't share or sell it. How cool is that? So for $9.99 per month, you get a VPN, identity theft restoration, and personal information removal. Honestly, it is a no-brainer. And as my listener, if you go to duckduckgo.com/1210, you'll get an exclusive 7-day free trial on me.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So as far as today in the region, obviously Trump in Pennsylvania today, 2 different stops after he speaks at Mar-a-Lago. We're talking about all of that. If you've been out and about, I urge you, please call in today, whether it's here to us here at Talk Radio 1210 WPHT over the next half hour, the Dom Show up next, Rich Zioli up next after him. So please keep it coming as far as if you're out there and you're going to these various election centers. These are not official polling places, but they're the places where you're filling out the mail-in ballot. Today is that deadline. Want to hear from you, though, for sure throughout the day, whether it's going great or especially if you're having any issues. We want to know about it. We want to alert the proper authorities so that they can investigate this and hopefully kind of work out the wrinkles before 1 week from today, which, of course, is Election Day. So we've got that going on. So today, as far as what's going on, Donald J. Trump, as he is at Drexel Brook at this event center today in Drexel Hill, then he will travel to Allentown for a rally later this evening. Now, he's not scheduled to speak this evening until 7 o'clock tonight, but despite that, I know Upper Darby School District dismissing all schools early today, and that's between 10 and noon-ish, like maybe 12:40-ish, because they're expecting all the crowds to greet him and that sort of thing. So that's why they were letting out the schools there. I know Upper Darby High School, for example, they're letting out right about now. So just a traffic heads up. If you're in that area and wondering what's going on, maybe an extra traffic with kids getting out at an unexpected time. District says they'll also follow the dismissal schedule for all non-public and charter school students, so Catholic schools, etc., following that schedule. So we want to just give you that headline there as we move forward.
Sunday night.
So, I thought you were going to go to something. Sorry, Dan.
No, you're good. We need to hear about your upcoming trip, Dawn.
Yes. So we're talking about, I was just texting back and forth to some different friends, and they're like, so is Romina going to be there? Lorenzo, is it a different trip? Yes, it's a different, still Italy, but the trip we took last year, that was to southern Italy. This is the Italian Riviera gastronomical event. I hope you join me. It's one that only conservative tours can deliver. Join me 11 luxurious days with the professionals. They are the best. And they are at Conservative Tours, the very best tour operator in all of Italy. If you joined me last year, you know this. If you've been with either Dom Giordano or Rich Zioli, when he took, this was before the kids, he and Bridget were able to go on a trip. Not so much now, but we all rave about it because you can't imagine. It's the best, and so loaded with surprises. Okay, Portofino, Rapallo, Santa Margherita Ligure, Tuscany, and the brilliant Cinque Terre. 5378. Yes, 5378 includes your airfare. Amazing dining events at the wineries in Tuscany, even an authentic farm visit to see Parmesan cheese being crafted by hand. There's nothing like this. There's nothing like a conservative tours trip. Nothing like it. And I've traveled the world. Toll free 888-733-9494 is what you call. You can go to, this is what I recommend, conservativetours.com, and that toll free number is also on there, 888-733-9494. So if you go to conservativetours.com, you'll see my picture, my name, the full itinerary, give you some more details, like the hidden Italian villages that you've never seen, like Giacomo Puccini, San Gimignano, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, Florence, and Milan. And we will conclude on the Lakes region with Bellagio, Orta, and Isola Bella. Join me next spring in Italy. I'll see you in Cinque Terre. ConservativeTours.com. Make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
A warmer air mass builds into the Delaware Valley today. We'll see a mixture of sunshine and clouds with a high temperature well above average near 70. Not as cold tonight, partly cloudy, low 52 for the city, cooler out in the suburbs, and a very warm day on Wednesday with sunshine and clouds with a high 76.
You may have heard, Wawa has pizza. And right now, Wawa has pizza at a really great price.
Wawa has personal pizza for a night of gaming.
And it's only $6.
Wawa has pizza for when we don't want to cook.
And a 14-inch is $8.
Wawa has pizza for after practice.
A 16-inch to feed the team, $10. Right now, get a personal 14 or 16-inch Wawa pizza for just $6, $8, or $10. Wawa has pizza for all at a really great price.
I'm Tahisha Way, New Jersey's Lieutenant Governor, with a message for New Jersey voters. You have 3 voting options in the general election. Vote in person on Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. Vote early, in person Saturday, October 26th through Sunday, November 3rd. Or apply for, complete, and return a mail-in ballot. Whatever you choose, vote by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 5th. Details at vote.nj.gov.
The leaves are changing color, the air is crisp, and it's the perfect time to fall into savings on a luxurious new Volvo from Cherry Hill Volvo. Take advantage of these incredible offers. A 2025 XC40 for only $435 per month on a 36-month lease. A 2024 C40 for only $329 per month on a 36-month lease. Or get 3.99% financing on select new Volvos for 72 months. See store for details. Customers enjoy the stress-free and satisfactory experience Cherry Hill Volvo provides. Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter.
Wawa's hot turkey is back, and it's bringing the comforting flavors of the season with it. Sink into savory stuffing, cozy up with sweet cranberry sauce, and relax into some warm, buttery mashed potatoes. Grab your pillows and blankets, because hot turkey is back. Plus, get your cozy cravings satisfied from the comfort of your bed with $0 delivery when you order on the Wawa app. Try the Wawa Gobbler today in a hoagie or bowl for a limited time. Gotta have a Wawa.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
So we've talked about the SS United States.
Such a shame.
I know. Here in Philadelphia, we talked about it, and where did it go? And there were people who wanted it to stay here, but after decades here in Philadelphia, in the shipyard, of course, the last great American ocean liner may be destined for the seafloor.
Yeah.
right?
It's so sad to hear, and this is something that become beloved to Philadelphians as the IKEA Titanic. Anyone crossing over the Walt Whitman Bridge, you look over to the left when you go over to Jersey, or to the right, coming over to Philly, and you see that huge ship that looks like the Titanic. It's an amazing ship with an illustrious history, and a similar ship, an ocean liner called the Queen Mary, was turned into a resort destination where you could kind of go down and have some drinks. And honestly, I don't know if it's doing so well, but I would have loved to see something like that happen from the SS United States. So called upon a friend, Matthew Christopher. He's a guy that does abandonedamerica.us. It's a great website that delves into, he's a photographer, and he goes into abandoned places, and somehow he was able to gain access onto the ship SS United States and did a great podcast on that, and he has a great piece, an article delving into that just appeared recently in Atlas Obscura. So let's bring in Matthew Christopher. Real quick, a little sample from the podcast and what you'd expect to hear. Take a listen. It's about 55 seconds.
The SS United States was to be used as a troop ship with a capacity for carrying 15,000 soldiers in the event that it was needed in wartime. For this reason, her top speed was a closely guarded secret. In the meantime, however, she was to serve as the pinnacle of American engineering and sophistication, an erudite retort to the very best that competing companies like Britain's Cunard Line or the French Line, which would later be purchased by Norwegian Cruise Lines, could offer. Celebrity passengers are numerous, and according to her current owners include Marlon Brando, Coco Chanel, Sean Connery, Gary Cooper, Walter Cronkite, Salvador Dali, Walt Disney, Duke Ellington, Judy Garland, Cary Grant, Charlton Heston, Bob Hope, Marilyn Monroe, Grace Kelly, Elizabeth Taylor.
Just keeps going on and on, that list of amazing celebrities there, Dawn. And it's such an illustrious history that we just let rot there down in South Philly. Yes. So something that's exploding in popularity, these Abandoned America podcasts. A host of one of them, a photographer, Matthew Christopher. Dawn, I present you, Matt. Here you go.
Hey, Matthew Christopher. Good morning. Thanks for being here to talk about this. It's incredible that you got access. You got the access.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it was, particularly at that point in time, it was kind of like an unheard of thing. And thank you so much for having me here. It's really an honor.
Thanks for being here. And you write that after decades in a Philadelphia shipyard, it's really a beautiful relic of the past. But it was you call it the last great American ocean liner, maybe destined for the sea floor. Here there were people, I know there were people who had said that they attended, galas or weddings or occasions. And it really takes us back to a decadent time when people would take the time to travel aboard such a luxury American ocean liner. First of all, what captured your imagination that you wanted to photograph and tell the story of this last great American ocean liner, Matthew?
Well, I imagine it's probably the same thing that caught your interest, right? Mm-hmm. You see it there, and you kind of can't help but wonder about it. You can't help but be in awe of it because it's just one of those things that you don't expect to see. It seems like a bit of an anachronism or a glitch in the matrix or something like that. And I think anybody who has grown up wondering about abandoned places or sunken ships or things like that, I mean, when you look up, you kind of have to know what's inside, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's. I love this kind of history because you can't help them but looking back at history as well. So I would imagine you're somebody who history, you celebrate history. There were a lot of people here who wanted to save this ship. So what is the latest as far as what's going on?
Well, to my knowledge, and it's, been kind of a pretty fluid situation, but I think the short version is that there was a dispute between the docking company and the SS United States Conservancy, and the Conservancy was being charged an astronomical amount to keep it there. And basically, the docking company wanted to raise that fee. There was a legal battle over it. And essentially that ended with the mandate that they had to remove the ship from the port. And so now there had been this kind of, frantic search to figure out what to do with it. And the latest is that it is going to be towed to Okaloosa County, Florida, and sunk as a artificial reef. and it'll be something that people can scuba dive to, I believe, but it's not going to be something that you're going to be able to just as a person driving along 95 are able to appreciate any longer.
It's like a monkey's paw solution almost. You wish for something to become a tourism destination. They're like, yeah, sure, we'll sink it and you can scuba dive out to it. It's sad to see such a great relic like that just rot as it's becoming. I want you to confirm for us a South Philadelphia rumor, Matthew. Was this the fastest ocean liner at one time?
It was. It won an award called the Blue Ribbon for how fast it was. And in fact, it was kind of a closely guarded secret because the U.S. government contributed a lot of money to the construction of it, roughly two-thirds of the cost of building. And the idea was that if there was another war, it could be converted to a troop ship, and it would I think it was about 15,000 troops that it would be carrying. And so it wasn't just a sort of point of pride how fast it was, but it was also a military secret. I think the kind of agreed on amount of or speed that it went, top speed that it went, was about 44 miles per hour. I know it miles per hour, not knots, but the point is that that's actually a pretty ridiculous speed. I mean, you think 44 miles per hour, that's not a lot. I drive faster than that. And then you think, oh, wait a minute, this is a ship that's about 1,000 feet long. So I can't even imagine seeing that. But yeah, it was incredibly impressive, and that record still hasn't been beat to this day.
Matthew Christopher, you're a writer, photographer, and if people haven't checked you out, you're somebody who, this is your thing, where you explore these abandoned locations. And not just here in America, right? This is worldwide for decades, and you sort of chronicle these lost landmarks in our midst. What's your motivation as far as, everybody can look at your website, Abandon America, or listen to your podcast. But what was your motivation when you started this?
Well, that's a great question. I think for me, the beginning was being interested in the state hospital system. And I worked in mental health for about 10 years in the Philadelphia area, and I was just very kind of, I guess, concerned that there were all these lost stories that weren't being told of people that had been in asylums or institutions for their whole lives. And at that point, there were still quite a few abandoned state hospitals around, and I started visiting them, and then that just spiraled into an obsession. And I think the overall thing that really draws me to it is the fact that there are these places that have really interesting histories that are really significant, and they're kind of treated like trash. I mean, people will say, oh, that's an eyesore, they should tear it down or whatever, and they're not necessarily thinking this is a valuable part of the community. And then once you don't have those places, they're gone. And I don't know. I mean, I think there's sort of the architecture angle that's fascinating. I think there's the history aspect that's fascinating. And I think just the sort of experience of being in places that have been left behind is really magical too.
Yeah. And you know what you make me think of, and that is, I'm assuming you're talking about, Philadelphia State Hospital at Byberry.
Yeah.
Psychiatric hospital. So I've written not that I've written the papers for my kids, but I've definitely written.
Whoa.
I've written many papers with my kids. So I've probably seen some of your research. I'll sit with them. I will assist in the research, but I've done. So we have to have you come back and talk about that. And you know what it makes me think of? Maybe this is symbolic of our system. When you think of people with mental health issues today, maybe they've been forgotten, like these old state hospitals like Byberry. Maybe that has to do with, an ocean liner and a way of life where we took time and we appreciated those beautiful things that, by the way, our tax dollars paid for. So I don't know, maybe there's a little symbolism within all of this that we can see through your beautiful photography and what you write, Matthew.
Oh, thank you. And I mean, I do feel that there is a symbolism there. I think we've moved on to being a much more sort of disposable and ephemeral culture, but it's interesting that you have that fascination with Byberry, because Byberry was the one that got me into all of this. Yeah. So that was that was the one that really caught me. And I mean, it's just such a fascinating place. But yeah, I do think that we tend to not see the value of things until they're lost. And just because there's not an immediate financial aspect to them, like, just because in the present it's cheaper to tear a place down than it is to rehabilitate it, for example. There's an inherent value, I think. And, a place like Philadelphia, which is somewhere that people visit specifically for its history and appreciate so much for its history, I think, it's just sad to see so much of it being lost every day.
Something tells me that, I just have to ask you the question, because somebody who appreciates these older places, historic places, whether it's a ship, whether it's a former psychiatric hospital with a deep history that people perhaps know while they're listening to this, do you ever feel, I don't know, the spiritual world, the energy, and do you believe in that these places are haunted?
Well, that's a good question too, because okay, so I'm not a ghost hunter, and I am. I've never had. I wish I did. I wish I had an experience that I could say this thing happened, because people want to hear those stories. I don't have them, but I have never run into anything that I feel was inexplicable in any way, shape, or form. However, do I think that places kind of have their own personality, or I don't know, maybe like a soul of some sort? Like, if you go into an abandoned prison, for example, you can really feel that it's, and is that just contextual clues from wandering around it? Is that there's some sort of presence to it? I don't know. But, I definitely do think that there's something to them that you feel on a deeper level that, is kind of hard to articulate. I've spent years trying.
Well, Matthew Christopher, what a pleasure to have you on today. Writer, photographer. Check it out, his website, Abandoned America, or listen to his Abandoned America podcast. I hope you come back. I know that Dan and his wife, Maisie, are totally into your podcast. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, you got us hooked, Matthew.
we're all
thank
hooked.
you so much. Well, that's an honor.
Thank you, Matthew Christopher. Thanks, Dan, for discovering him, or maybe Maisie did. I'm not sure, but Abandoned America. This is cool stuff, and I love getting into that. And the old Byberry, we would have.
I love that you love
my
Byberry.
Gosh.
We're gonna have to delve into that one.
All the different it's funny to see with the different kids and what they focus on when they write the papers. But that's a piece of, sometimes you live vicariously or relive local history, right? Through, writing those papers or helping them write the papers and researching. So yeah, we have to definitely explore this. All right.
Mangle, great comment. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT says, "What's next? Are we going to smelt the Statue of Liberty?" A lot of anger from the commenters over there. So what's happening to the SS United States? And I'm happy to see that they should be angry. It's sad to see something like that go.
Yeah, and you think about all the tax dollars. I mean, why not try to sell it off to somebody who'll, I don't know, make it an amusement park or a luxury hotel, floating hotel? What was it, $75 million or something way back in the day that our tax dollars, were put into this thing? Why not just, turn it over to the people or private sector?
Yeah.
But no. Well, we have so much to talk about moving forward, and I'll get to all of it, I promise, in a quick amount of time. But I do have to talk about my friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles, featuring the latest in luxury vehicles from today's top brands such as Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and more. These models have such sleek new designs as well as innovative features powered by the very latest in technology. That's pretty cool, too. And by the way, Piazza, they have thousands of new as well as certified pre-owned vehicles available right now across their dealerships across Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey. Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. Piazza, PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, man, come here. You're not going to believe it. I picked up this beautiful model. She's down here.
A model?
Yep, got her from the train store.
In your basement?
See?
Oh, model train.
Whew. Yeah, what'd you think I was talking about?
Nicholas Smith Trains. Become the conductor with any model you can imagine, from classics to new releases and holiday-themed engines. Don't forget to visit Nicholas Smith Trains and Toys this holiday season. NicholasSmithTrains.com.
This is a commercial for California Psychics, America's most trusted psychic network. So, if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. No, really, this is it. You won't see your soulmate's face in the clouds or your career path mapped out in your cappuccino foam. This really is it. We could add some dramatic sound effects if you'd like. So what you waiting for? Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Woohoo! Another girls' night out.
I'm so stressed from shopping, I couldn't find anything.
Have you tried shopping jewelry television, JTV?
I don't know. Everyone in my family is so different.
JTV has thousands of jewelry styles, artisan, diamonds, pearls, colored gemstones, watches, even gift sets. I shop on TV and online.
New JTV customers save up to $40 when you shop jtv.com/radio.
Now, can you relax?
Yes. Another round?
Yes.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by Advocacy United, this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that'll affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the relief hotline at 800-525-8448. 800-525-8448. 800-525-8448.
Hey, this is Jimmy Fallon in the house, and dig this, folks. This is not a drill. It's the real thing. You can now join me weeknights from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT or anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
Kamala intends to conflict and keep this misery going, and she's going to keep it going as long as she can, because that's the only way she can get elected. She's going out and only criticizing, talking about Hitler and Nazi, and because her record's horrible. Her borders are the worst in the history of the world. There's never been a border in the world like this. I always say in third world countries, banana republics, they'd fight them away with sticks and stones if they had to. We let them come in, come on in. Knowing in many cases they're murderers, they're drug lords, they're traitors in so many ways to our country.
So, former President Donald J. Trump speaking live from Mar-a-Lago, holding this news conference and speaking ahead of the planned news conference by his opponent, the current Vice President Kamala Harris. Obviously, she'll be in D.C., but he's talking about a wide-ranging topics here, where He's actually allowing those family members of victims who were victimized by illegal criminal migrants who've come here illegally. So those victims' families speaking out and supporting Trump. We've seen that as well. So we'll have more of that. That's why it's beautiful that we're live, we're local, you'll never miss a thing. I will give you a heads up. U.S. Postal Service giving out a warning to all Americans looking to vote by mail, saying make sure you post your ballots today to ensure they are counted. And certainly here in Pennsylvania, 5 p.m. is the deadline today. So USPS putting this out here saying that they continue to recommend it's a good common sense measure for voters. If you choose to mail in your ballot, do so before Election Day, at least a week ahead of schedule before November 5th. So they're saying get this in the mail right now, ASAP, that word. And at this point, local officials are telling me across the board, if you have that mail-in ballot, you're better off to, stand in line, go to that local election office. And they're not official polling places. We have to, remember that. We've heard that throughout the season. These are some of them sort of pop up, created different satellite centers, but these are not polling places. That's not what this is. They are service centers. They're supposed to service you. Whatever you do, make sure this thing gets to where it needs to go by 5 p.m. today, and maybe take it in person, get the postmark right there and photograph it. Dom Giordano, man, Dom, there's so much breaking today.
Oh, thank you, Dawn. Big stuff. We have the woman who was arrested yesterday in Delaware County. To your point, how can you election year, if we're told by Democrats all the time, those are not polling places. I believe they are polling places. You're voting there. And Nikki Haley stops by. She's coming to town for McCormick. The odds are, based upon, talking before the interview, that she will be at some kind of event with President Trump in the near future.
Ooh, great Dom show just ahead.
Hey, it's Rich Isioli. You know that Dr. Mike Veneri is my friend. He's my dentist. He's the master of dental implants. Did you also know that he hosts an annual Veterans Breakfast every year to thank our men and women who have served our country? And he also hosts a free community shredding event so you can shred all those confidential, sensitive documents so nobody hacks your identity and tracks you down. Saturday, November 9th, Veterans Day weekend. Your opportunity to come out, say hello to our veterans, thank them, get some coffee, cake, donuts, even breakfast pizza. Breakfast pizza, what's that? It's a real thing. And if you've been thinking about getting that beautiful smile you deserve, reach out to my buddy Dr. Mike Veneria. For 12 years, he's been recognized among his peers as a master of dental implants. He's a guy who cares, he gives back to our veterans and our community, and he's my entire family's dentist. You won't be disappointed. So come out on Saturday, November 9th for the Veterans event and free community shredding event. Go to veneriadental.com for more information. veneriadental.com. I'll see you Saturday, November 9th at his Cinnaminson office, veneriadental.com.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
My office has its ups and downs.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, one thing's for certain. If you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast, and you can invite your top choices to apply. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So, for any kind of office.
I'm really going places in my office.
My office has everything you could ever want.
Count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
Hey, it is Dom time. Welcome in, and we are loaded up today. We're going to talk with a woman making national news who was arrested yesterday in Delaware County, apparently electioneering at one of those long, slow-walking lines that Democrats are using. Wait a minute. I thought those weren't polling places. Isn't that what we're always told? We're always told that about what's going on out there with these long lines, the electioneering. I want to talk about the comedian, call him that if you will, and what impact that had for Madison Square Garden. If you want to win, you see it as I do. Bad move. It's not going to flip the election, but it gives them days to talk about it. Who screened this guy? Well, several people say that the comedian, I'm not even going to say this clown's name. He's not even a clown. I mean, it's ridiculous. That he was going to call Kamala Harris the C word. And he was going to play with it for the whole length of time he was up there and say, oh, I meant communist at the end. You know, is this the battleground where we fight it out over the issue of cancel culture and, oh, humor, it's just a joke and all that? No, it's not. It's about one thing, winning. Those people that are right now on the way, or they're in those lines out there in Delaware and Bucks County, are they standing there debating cancel culture with some goofball comedian and people that put them up there? No, they're doing that because they want to win. They want to win for the country. They want to win. That's the only thing that matters. Now, Nikki Haley's on the show today. She's endorsed Trump. I believe, based upon when talking with her people and all that, getting ready for this interview, that she is going to appear with President Trump. I'm sure some people on Twitter, with Nikki Haley and all. As Nikki Haley moved a few thousand votes in Pennsylvania, people on a razor's edge, well, I like the Trump policies, much better for me. I can't stand them. What do I do? She might. It's all about that. It's all about putting aside everything else. Now, here's the woman in question, and Val has called me over the years. She is a Trump delegate, I believe, to the RNC convention, statewide committee woman. And she's called me over the years, I think. She'll be here at 1 o'clock today. I think when she thought I was too critical of the Delco Republicans, or she was like a liaison. So here's how it sounded yesterday when she was arrested in one of the early polling places, Cut 18.
Wow. That's crazy. You locked her up? That is insane, man. She is not influencing people. She is not at all.
All right. And again, I'd like to know out there in Delaware County, what are the rules? We're told these are not polling places. So with people waiting in line, are you electioneering? We know you can't do that inside polling places. These are not polling places. I can't emphasize that enough. She'll be here at 1 o'clock with a lot to talk about around this. And again, I'm not, I was kind of honored, Dan, on Twitter that this one guy put up about these long lines in Delco and Bucks. He puts up, where's the RNC? Where's the GOP? Then he writes, where's Dom Giordano? Like, what the hell?
It's like you're Batman. I love it.
Yeah, like, what the hell? What am I going to go over there and do? I'm agitating behind the scenes. I'm pulling the levers that I have with people, stoking them up with text and everything else. I just think Republicans out in Bucks and Delco, they gotta threaten them with something. There's got to be some money they can withhold. There's got to be some action they can do. Here's one cut where they talk about there's not a printer, the ballot printer, at a voting location in Lansdale. Listen to this. It has failed. This is cut 8.
But you can vote early if the printer would work. I just walk on by, see what's going on. What happened?
The printer doesn't work, so they don't have the ballots. So he's giving out these forms to be filled out, and then if you fill them out, when the printer gets here in about an hour, then you can stay in line if you want to. He's expecting 45 minutes to an hour.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's bringing the